And welcome on back, everyone, to episode 104 of Streaming with the Mouse. My name is Clifton Paul Robinson, and today we'll be talking about the hype for Hawkeye, or if you are on Reddit or Twitter, the lack there of hype. Nonetheless, we're excited for it, so get ready, and you're listening to Streaming with the Mouse. Welcome on back, everyone, to another episode of Streaming with the Mouse. My name is Clifton Paul Robinson, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, my driver. You want to go with that? And the lucky to my Clint. How's that one? I think that's a fun
I'm the
one.
dog. I'm Pizza Dog. That's fantastic.
You're Pizza Dog with one eye. Cam, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm actually very happy and excited for Hawkeye. Not that I wouldn't have been, but I feel
you weren't at first. You weren't at first.
It's not that I wasn't. It was just there are other things I was super excited for. I'm hyped for this right now. And the only thing I'll say is I think Lucky is going to be called Luke in the show, and that makes me a little sad, but we'll get over it. But I'm very excited for Hawkeye. Usually I'm one of those people yes, I like to see a little trailer, but I don't want to see too much. This has been a show that the more I've seen trailers, we got a good clip on Disney Plus Day of one of the action scenes. I'm so in for this, especially if my guy Vincent D'Onofrio's in it. I'm pumped. I cannot wait for Hawkeye, man. This is gonna be, and the fact that we get 2 episodes, I think Marvel should do this forever. Give me the first 2 episodes every single time because I want more content now.
Yes, I don't know how to say it. I mean, in my circle, there's hype, but then you kind of look around, and I don't think that the show is not underhyped. I think that we've already passed over. We are treating Hawkeye like Thanksgiving.
It's Spider-Man.
We're already ignoring Hawkeye, and we're in Christmas season. We are in Spider-Man season, but I don't think it's gonna hurt Hawkeye. I actually think it might help it because people are gonna be so Marvel starved. They might throw us a hint at something. Who knows? Especially if there are certain Spider-Man villains present in said show. But we will talk about it. We're going to get into it. We're going to break down everything we know. And for once, we're going to put on the tinfoil hats and talk about what we've heard might be coming and what we're hoping to see. Quick news, Kathleen Kennedy, the new recently extended executive director of Lucasfilm, in an interview, I believe today, talked about how this is not the last we have seen of the sequel trilogy characters. I'm guessing that means Rey, Poe, and Finn. Just an educated guess. I hope so. I think that would translate well to Disney Plus, but we're not going to talk too much about that today.
I would love Rey building a Jedi Academy. Would be awesome. I'd be all in on that.
The one I saw that I would say I'd like is someone said have Rey, Finn, and Grogu be Jedi together. I think that would be pretty cool. That would be a cool rebuild.
My little heart just got so happy with Daisy Ridley holding little baby Grogu. Are you kidding me?
Or holding angsty teen Grogu.
Yes, that's fair.
Who knows by that point? But we're going to jump into it. So, if you haven't figured out yet, Hawkeye is about Hawkeye, about Clint Barton. However, it's looking like he's on his way out, as it's going to be centering around the young Avenger, Kate Bishop, who will be played this time by Hailie Steinfeld, and it's going to be taking on, we don't know, Hawkeye training Hawkeye, but we don't really know a plot about this. We just know a general idea that it's Kate and Clint learning.
Yeah, and I think the big thing is, based off everything we've seen so far, this is based off of Matt Fraction's run on Hawkeye, which I literally just started reading last week, or 2 weeks ago. It's phenomenal. Probably about 10 episodes, 10 issues into the comic on Marvel Unlimited. Highly recommend if you're a comic book fan. Get that app. If not, if you are just a comic book movie person and you're looking to get into the comic books, definitely get it. It's $60 for the whole year. You get almost every Marvel comic book up to the last 6 months. Then after 6 months of an issue, they release it. But anyway, not that we're sponsored by them. I wish we were. It's based off his run. It looks like based off the costumes, the fact that we have Lucky the dog, who again, as I mentioned, I think is named Luke in this. You got Hawkeye, you got Kate, and the big thing right with that is okay, Hawkeye is this big BA Avenger kind of thing. He helps fights aliens, fights all these big threats. But at the end of the day, he's one of the only, like, regular guys on the Avengers team. He doesn't have powers. Obviously, Iron Man doesn't either. But Iron Man has a big fancy suit. Hawkeye has him and a bow and arrow, basically. So the comic books that are written by Matt Fraction are basically like, what happens when he's not with the Avengers? What adventures is he having? And really, it's just him being a regular dude. In the comics, he owns this big, like, apartment complex that the Russian mob is essentially trying to, like, screw him over with and trying to ruin the lives of the tenants and stuff. And this seems to have some parallels with that. Like I said, the costumes look very similar to ones of the books. You got Lucky the dog. There was that chase scene that came out on Disney Plus Day, and it looked like something right out of the comic book page of Clint and Kate getting chased by the Russian mob. It looked exactly like that, but in cinematic form. So it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, with the Russian mob aspect, there's always got to be a leader for a mob, right? And the big rumor right now is Vincent D'Onofrio coming as Kingpin. So maybe that's what it is Kingpin is trying to basically buy these apartment buildings. Maybe, I don't know. And that would go very similar to what he did in Daredevil. So it kind of makes sense parallel-wise. Like, the story Matt Fraction told in the Hawkeye comics could easily be adapted to the show with Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin doing what he did in Hawkeye, or in Daredevil on the Netflix show. So my brain is swirling. I'm rambling at this point, but I'm excited as heck for it.
When I was a boy, I think I definitely watched the first season of Daredevil. I don't know if I fully finished all those ones.
First and third season are great.
I think I finished 1 and 2, and then 2 kind of killed me, and then I was like, eh.
Three is pretty good. 3 takes place after Defenders, which I actually really like Defenders. Didn't really care for Iron Fist that much, but he was good in that. But yeah,
this show is definitely it's setting up. It's very much they're taking the Eternals route. They're giving us a lot of nothing to a show, to something that we're gonna finally learn when we watch it. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it. Like, Eternals, I read the leaks of Eternals, and I still had no clue what was going on. I have not read anything about Hawkeye. All I know is from all the red carpet premieres, very well recepted from the showings, I believe, in London and then LA. It's going to be the first Christmas Marvel thing if you don't include Iron Man 3.
Which
is Iron Man 3 a Christmas movie?
Yeah, it definitely is. Absolutely, it's a Christmas movie.
But something interesting about this series, more specifically, is they're taking a new route. They're going new for a lot of things. They have a very well-defined double star. Hailie Steinfeld is obviously a up-and-coming actress, but well-known, has an Oscar nomination, as well as Jeremy Renner reprising his role. There are 3 directors for the 6 episodes. It's split 3 and 3. The first one, I don't know whose order it's going in, but Rhys Thomas is going to be directing 3 of the episodes. He was a producer for SNL, and it looks like this is the beginning of his directing career. So this is the thing, we don't really know a lot of these. We don't know, like, their, like, long history of writing, producing, directing, because Marvel seems to have started to pick into the pool of, all right, these people are at the beginning, or like into the prime of their career, so we're going to get them first, which is really cool. But then I needed to talk about this. There is a directing pair of 2 women that will be directing the other 3 episodes, and they go by Bert and Birdie.
There we go.
I love it just the way it is, but again, these 2 people have not really done. They directed some of the episodes of The Great. I don't know if you've watched any of that Hulu show.
Yeah.
I have not either. So, interesting as it is. I don't know if you wanted to comment on the name. I thought you'd really appreciate the name.
It was good. No, but I'm excited because from what I've gathered from this, like, the fact that one of the directors is an SNL writer, I think you said, right?
Was a producer for SNL.
Producer. Like, this show, I don't know why. I could be very off base, but it's giving me big Thor Ragnarok vibes, where it's, like, kind of funny. Like, in that one scene that we saw with the chase scene, like, yeah, it's this high-intense chase scene, but it was also a little funny at the same time. And we've seen, there was another clip that came out recently where Kate tells Clint, like, you've got a branding problem. Like just little clips like that. And Marvel is one of those properties that they are being funny while also doing this cool superhero stuff to keep everyone entertained. But I don't know why, like comedically, I'm getting big Thor Ragnarok vibes, and that's a good thing because Thor Ragnarok is one of the best MCU movies ever made. So I'm very excited to see that. So it's nice seeing an SNL person being involved with this, I guess.
I agree. And it's going to be fun because it's going to be boots on the ground. It's going to be like, oh, you're everyone liked Marvel for a long time, and the reason that Netflix shows it so well is because they're like your friendly neighborhood insert superhero, unless it's the Punisher. Then it's your unfriendly murdering
very unfriendly
rampage man. But it's something that you can almost relate to, which is cool in itself.
And I've said that multiple times. Those are my favorite kind of superhero stories, the ones that are, I'm going to say believable as you can be with somebody who got bitten by a radioactive spider and is fighting crime.
That didn't happen to you?
Not yet. I wanted it real bad. But I love that grounded superhero style. Give me all the alien fights you can get. Give me Superman fighting aliens. Give me the Avengers fighting Thanos. I love all that. Don't get me wrong. But I really like the small side of thing, and that's why that Matt Fraction run that I'm reading, like I'm blowing through it because it's just incredible because it's that local little guy helping the normal people kind of thing, not from an alien invasion, but from a Russian mob or something like that, or from the Kingpin, who's a dirty potentially mayor in some comic books, and that's why I really like Spider-Man and Daredevil, and now I'm really into this Hawkeye comic. I don't know if I'm a Hawkeye like super fan, but I like this style of comic that I'm reading right now. It's because it's believable as superheroes in the world can be.
And I'll preface this: comic Hawkeye is a lot different than MCU Hawkeye.
1,000%.
Very different. When we'll talk about that also, but we're
not
talking
about Hawkeye
that
kills the Hulk.
I think at one time everyone gets to kill the Hulk at some point. As we always know, who would win if DC took on the MCU or took on Marvel Comics? Whoever's writing. That's how you know who wins.
There. And Batman.
That's the main thing. Who wins between Batman and Superman? Whoever's writing the comic. We actually have a lot of experience in the writing department, especially with the head writer Jonathan Igla. He is best known. He's a writer and producer. He's best known for Mad Men. He was the executive story editor. So, for people to know, an executive story editor is the person that kind of oversees the. I don't want to say lesser writers. That's the wrong way to put it. They're the ones that oversee the non-head writers. They're the ones that might have like certain writing for this person, like X, Y, and Z. So he was that for Mad Men for many seasons. The executive producer of Bridgerton. It was a book. I don't know if you ever. It's on Netflix. And he's one of the writers of Pitch, which was a one season on Fox. It was about the first female pitcher in the MLB.
Fun fact. That is, and this is going to be an obscure reference for everybody. I don't remember that actress's name, but that is Teal Bunbury's sister. Teal Bunbury plays for the New England Revolution, my favorite team in the entire world. Go Revs, baby.
Yeah. Kylie Bunbury.
There we go. Yeah, that's why I know that show, because it's Teal Bunbury's sister.
And I've watched some of that show. I enjoyed it. I usually don't even watch sports shows, but I'm like, I'll give it a try to see like how the writing style is, because actually, and I'll talk about that in a second also, many writers from that show are on this. So Jonathan Igla is the head writer, so it's his story, and then under him, the two executive story editors are a writing pair of Tanner Bean and Katie Mathewson, who I get to brag because she is my Twitter mutual. And they are newer writers that also were writers on Pitch. So it's going to be cool to see kind of like how this moves forward. Because like I said, there's a lot of new writing.
Right.
There's a lot of new writers or newer, which I think is going to be really cool, but also like, I don't know if I appreciate the tweets from a lot of the writers because you see it throughout. Like we saw like Loki people tweet like all this. So it's going to be interesting to see how the humor is. Like, is it going to be more based in like our type of humor? Is it going to be more like internet humor? I mean, it seems more like very like quips. It's very like quip based, which is good. That's what you want. But I think out of this, what you want to talk about is the acting, because who doesn't want to talk about the acting? And we can talk about the two main stars right now, but first and foremost, Clint Barton. We're going to see a family-style movie in some sense. But what also seems to be happening is we're going to be getting some comic book Hawkeye, finally. And that is in the sense that it sounds, or it looks and seems like Clint Barton is finally going to go deaf. I do not know if you've seen that.
I have heard about that, yes.
They kind of showed that in one of the trailers, and it also looks like he's wearing hearing aids. For people that don't know, this is a big issue with... This is one of the biggest issues with MCU Hawkeye, is that one of the most important parts of Clint's story in Marvel Comics is that he's deaf. That's like a big thing. Like, he's deaf, but he overcomes it with doing other miraculous things. Like, he's not defined by his disability. And it looks like they're finally starting to put this in, which I applaud, because there's tons of ways you can do it. But I think this would be an important part to add to the character.
Yeah, I think one of the things from the comics, if I remember correctly, he loses his hearing, then it's cured, and then I think there's a character I think called the Clown, who also might be in the show, so that actually would make kind of sense. But I think he stuck the arrows in his ears, or in Clint's ears, and that made him go deaf again. So, like, I think the Clown is in the show. I don't know who's playing him, but that's a rumor I heard too. So that would be... It's very graphic, getting 2 arrows stuck in your ears, but that would be interesting if the Clown in this show... I'd have to look it up. I'm pretty sure he made him go deaf in the comics again. But it's really cool, because that is a part of Clint Barton's character, like you mentioned. So it's nice that they're incorporating that into this Hawkeye show.
Yeah, for sure. That sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Why
really,
would you? Why would you?
I'm looking up. Yeah, the Clown did it.
Why would you tell me that?
Yeah, no. Well, it might happen. So get ready. Yeah, the clown stuck arrows in his ears, and that's how we got here.
Wow. What's the Clown's real name outside of the Clown?
Oh God, that I don't know. He's like a very... For me, he's an obscure... I'm sure, like, diehard comic fans know who he is. I just know, like, loosely of him. I don't know. Oh, I just typed in Clown, and that did not go over well on my Google search.
But we will, while you look, we'll also talk...
Kazi. Kazi.
Okay.
K-A-Z-I.
Okay. So the next big thing on our leading lady is Hailie Steinfeld, who has been rumored for so long to be Kate Bishop. I think 5 years ago she was being rumored to be Kate Bishop.
It feels like for literally forever.
Because that was one of those things that even Kevin Feige played into the joke. Kevin Feige doesn't play into Marvel jokes. If anyone saw the thing when she got asked about Young Avengers, he looked ready to fire her on the spot if she answered the question. It. He continuously played into the joke about Hailie Steinfeld being Kate Bishop, and here we are. I'm pretty sure there were there were photos of her on set as Kate before we had an actual announcement of her being it, which was wild. I don't know how much
happens like that.
It was really... I think it was just at the point where they were like, "Oh wait, we didn't officially announce it." Oh
yeah.
I don't know what you have seen for her movies.
I haven't seen a single thing, but I'm very excited for her.
I would have pegged you for a True Grit person kind of. I would have pegged you for a True Grit kind of guy.
Nah, no.
Well, that was what she got her Oscar nomination for. Other big ones, The Edge of 17 with Woody Harrelson. She joined the Pitch Perfect trilogy in the 2nd and 3rd episode.
Oh, then I have seen something she's in.
Yes.
I know that one.
She's the one that starts...
Okay, I know who she's now. Yeah. She's a good voice.
She doesn't actually do a cappella well. She sings her own music. And she was also Gwen Stacy in Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, that
I'm just blowing Cam's mind here.
No, I knew that one. Well, that's animated, so that's different for me. But like, I actually seeing her in a movie, like not just hearing her voice, I have seen her in Pitch Perfect.
And now she is the lead. She's Emily Dickinson in Dickinson on Apple TV. I love Hailie Steinfeld. She's one of my favorite actresses right now in Hollywood. So I think this is like a perfect scenario for it, for me personally. And I think we're already starting to see the humor and everything in it, which is, I think it's going to be very seamless for what they need if they are getting rid of Jeremy Renner or if he is retiring from the MCU. This is definitely the right move for this.
Yeah, and I'm excited for it because I think like the big thing for me is like she looks the part completely. The only thing she's missing, and I hope I hope they're holding out on us and they're going to give it to us, is like her purple glasses that she wears. I think that'll be cool.
I think she's going to get those.
But she looks exactly like Kate Bishop does in the comics. From the little I've seen of her from Pitch Perfect, I guess now, and the trailer and the commercials. Very funny. Reminds me of the Kate Bishop that I've read in the comics for the last couple of years, which is awesome. You want that. You want an actor who can go right in and just fits the role like a glove. And I think, again, I haven't seen much of her and we haven't seen the show yet. I think Hailie Steinfeld could absolutely do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to talk in depth about 2 more actors, and then we'll just kind of go through quickly the rest of the group. Sure. Spoiler alert for Black Widow. You have no excuse. If you watch this podcast, you have absolutely zero excuse to have not seen Black Widow yet. It is free on Disney+. So I am not sorry. We do have confirmation that Florence Pugh is reprising her role as Elena Belova, sorry. And we know from the end credit scene that she is going to start as an adversary. I'm not even going to say villain, as an adversary to Clint Barton because she believes that he killed her sister.
Yes.
I think that will get wrapped up pretty quickly.
Literally my favorite part of Black Widow was Florence Pugh. And I'm so excited that we're going to get... I didn't think we'd get... The assumption, right, was basically, okay, she's going to become the new Black Widow, and that's going to be it. There's not going to be Natasha Romanoff. There's not going to be ScarJo anymore. It's going to be Florence Pugh playing Yelena, being Black Widow, essentially. I didn't think we'd get this quickly, and the fact that like we got that end trailer and that end credit scene in Black Widow, where she meets with Contessa, and we have that scene basically where she's kind of told like Hawkeye, like that's why your sister, quote unquote, is dead.
How did she get this information? Who gave her this information?
Dying to know that, but
I think we're gonna find out.
The fact that we're getting her back so quickly is still shocking to me. And I'm so appreciative of it because I absolutely loved her character. I would love some like awesome fight scenes of Yelena with Kate, whether they're fighting each other in the beginning, maybe if she's an adversary, or like when they do team up. I'm assuming at some point in this, I think that's going to be really great. So definitely excited to see Florence Pugh in this, and I don't think we'll get her in the first 2 episodes. I think she'll be like a week 3 person, maybe at the very end of episode 2. Or
that's what I think.
3,
that's what I think.
But no, super pumped that we're gonna get her. Hopefully she has all of her pockets again. Oh no, she wouldn't, because Black Widow. Oh, that's sad.
That sucks. Yeah, I am in the boat that if she was not in Black Widow, that movie would not. She was the crutch for that movie. She carried that movie to the finish line.
I don't agree with that, but she was very good in it.
I have to rewatch it, but that is my opinion.
That's fine. Everybody's entitled to.
The last major role we'll talk about for now, there's going to be 5 weeks to talk about everything else, is the introduction, what the heck, is the introduction of Maya Lopez, a.k.a. Echo, who I believe is maybe a newer character in Marvel. I don't know a ton about her character, but she is being played by Alaqua Cox, who is a Native American woman who will be playing Echo, who will also be getting her own spin-off show. So we can assume in some capacity she'll be pretty semi-relevant in this show. Go ahead. You can introduce her.
Yeah. So what's interesting about Maya Lopez / Echo is her first appearance. I didn't know the date, but was in a Daredevil comic. Daredevil number 9, which came out December 1999. Okay. So newer-ish, I guess, for her. What I do know about her, though, before I even knew she was in a Daredevil comic, just from reading comics, is that she was one of the people that took up the mantle of Ronin, which is pretty cool because obviously we had Clint was that in Avengers Endgame. We see Hailie Steinfeld dressed up as Ronin in the trailer for Hawkeye. So it'll be interesting to see if that comes into play here. Obviously, I say this a lot. I feel like on this podcast, at least I hope I say it a lot. Representation is super important. So the fact that we have a deaf actress coming into play, a deaf character, and Echo is really great. Obviously, the big thing is that they've already announced that there's going to be an Echo spinoff. Does that bring in Daredevil? Because that's the big rumor
supposedly,
right now.
yes.
So we'll see. But Echo, I don't know much about her, to be completely honest, besides, like, I think her dad was killed by Kingpin, which, again, that's why I'm really hoping that we get.
And her dad is cast in this show.
Yeah, so I'm really hoping that we get Kingpin in this, but we'll see. And then I know that she was Ronin at one point. But no, it'll be cool to see a new character. Obviously, not one that I feel the general public is super familiar with, but it is a character that everybody's going to know by the end of the series, which is pretty great.
So I will introduce a little bit more. So she is Native American. She grew up on the Menominee Reservation in Wisconsin, and as well as being deaf, she actually has a prosthetic. Is an amputee. She has her, if I can say it right, prosthetic lower leg. And I saw a picture of that, and I saw it on the red carpet, and I'm like, wait, what? And then I looked it up, and I'm like, oh, that's so. They didn't even talk about this at all. I'm really interested to see how they do it. They did such a beautiful job with using a deaf actress in Eternals.
Yeah,
and it's just
was awesome.
Yeah, she was one of the great characters. They were all great, but it's just so cool to see they're getting over this crutch. They're slowly but surely, Hollywood is starting to get over this crutch of, oh, we can't cast them because of this. We'll have someone else be that character. And I'm very happy that they're doing this right. They're doing this in the perfect way possible. And does this lead into Daredevil? I hope so. I really hope so. But we'll rifle through the last of the characters. Linda Cardellini is coming back. How great.
Yes.
I only think of her now. She's been in so many things. She's been in Legally Blonde. She was Velma in the live action Scooby-Doo's. But I only ever picture her as Miss Piggy's friend from all the Muppets stuff now, which is not the way to remember her. But it still cracks me up. Vera Farmiga as well as Brian D'Arcy James are the bishops. Kate's mom becomes a villain in the comics.
That I didn't know, actually.
So sorry, spoiler alert for your console.
No, that's fine. That's interesting to know.
Vera Farmiga is very famous. You probably remember her from I believe she's the Haunting movies.
That's Kate's mom?
Or she was in Orphan.
No, but that's Kate's mom?
Yes.
Kate Bishop?
Kate Bishop's mom.
She was in the trailer.
Yeah, cool. She was in the trailer. She's a psychiatrist.
She's talking about the Avengers level threat, which I'm still interested to see what the Avengers level threat is in this. So we'll see.
I don't think there is one. I think it's her making it up.
Maybe.
And do you know who Brian D'Arcy James is? Nope. You're a little bit of a Broadway fan, so I'd hope you would know.
Not much. So no, I do not.
Brian D'Arcy James is a very famous singer. He has an incredible voice. He is known. He is God, I Hate Shakespeare. He's the main character. And he was Shrek in Shrek the Musical.
Oh, really? That's hilarious.
Yes. And let's get through these last couple of characters. We have a Russian man, Alex Panovich, is playing Ivan. So your Russian mob theories working a little bit in your favor here. Yep. Fra Free is playing Kazi.
And that's Clown, I believe.
That's the Clown boy. We have another Russian man named Pietro? Pietro?
Pietro?
And he's playing Thomas. And the last big one we have, who, if you have seen Westworld, he's a great actor. Zahn McLaren, who is the Native American man that they followed the story for in Westworld. He is playing William Lopez, who I believe is Echo's father, who gets brutally murdered by Kingpin.
Yes. So
that is all we know. We know Kingpin might be making an appearance. We know it's Christmas.
Do you think he's going to be it? Let's talk about it. Do you think he's going to be in it?
Yes, because someone, what's his name? Who plays Kingpin?
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Someone like Vincent D'Onofrio is absolutely like Melina. He's absolutely going to spoil something because he doesn't get how the internet's going to take it and run, but I think he kind of knows they will. He has been the biggest supporter of coming back to play Kingpin. Why would he hype it up just to let everyone down when he has probably been the biggest cheerleader to be back in the MCU? Why would he do that?
I think he comes back I'm just really nervous. This would be like, out of anything I could have predicted in anything Marvel or Star Wars, I mean, please, dead serious here. This would be the biggest letdown ever. If I have just in my head, holy cow, we're going to get Vincent D'Onofrio, because that all but guarantees we're going to get Charlie Cox. Oh, it's going to kill me. Now, here's what I do think. I don't think we're going to get him for long. I think if we get him, quick end credit scene, or whatever it is, it'll be after December 17th. December 17th is when No Way Home comes out, Spider-Man No Way Home. I really believe the rumor Charlie Cox is in that as Daredevil. I'm all in on that theory. If he's in that, I think we'll get Vincent D'Onofrio after, or we'll get him, the 17th is a Friday, we'll get him on the 15th, and then the 17th will be Charlie Cox in No Way Home. I think that's how they would time it up.
It would be even more mean. So for preface, if you don't use Twitter, because not everyone's as attached to Twitter as some of us.
God bless you.
Yeah. Vincent D'Onofrio was literally on Twitter liking hundreds of tweets saying, "Welcome back to the MCU." That's too much dedication, first and foremost.
But
then the other thing,
that would make me so mad.
5 days ago, he retweeted the 1 week until we hit the mark for Hawkeye trailer, and he retweets it and goes, "This is going to be fun. I love those Marvel series."
This is like when I was waiting for Reed Richards to show up in WandaVision. It's gonna be some like random scientist, and that's exactly what's gonna happen. My soul is gonna get crushed in this thing.
I think, honestly, to me, I don't want you to be hurt. It would be very comical if he's not in it to me, but I think it would be even more comical if he's literally in it in like the last 10 seconds of the entire show as an end credit scene.
I don't care. That's all I need.
That to me would be the most comical thing Marvel could do.
That just means that they're bringing back Charlie, and that's all I need.
Because it would be so mean but amazing at the same time. That's because I am looking at this show like Echo is season 2. That's how I'm looking at this. Right. But anything
This is literally what it is, though, Cliff. This is exactly what it is. This is me waiting for Reed Richards and Mephisto in WandaVision. This is the same thing, but on a bigger scale. Because Daredevil, I've said this multiple times, Daredevil and Spider-Man are my favorite comic book characters, not MCU, like movie character, but specifically in the comics. I love Daredevil. Kingpin is one of my favorite villains, and that's because of the Daredevil Netflix show. Vincent D'Onofrio is fantastic in that. I've probably hyped that show up more than any other person I know. I'm sure there are other people too, but like when Daredevil got canceled on Netflix, it crushed me. But shout out to Disney Plus, because then I got Grogu, even though that's what killed Daredevil. It's fine. I want this so bad. Even if it's a 10-second end credit scene where it just pulls up, maybe he's in a desk and he spins around in his chair, and we just see Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin slam his giant meaty fists on the desk. I'll be all good. That'll make me so happy.
Let's not act like Netflix doesn't kill its own shows.
No, fair. But Disney Plus is what... The second Disney Plus got announced, that's the next week, basically. Then all the Marvel Netflix shows got canceled, so... It was.
But any last-minute things before we sign off on this Hawkeye
I can't wait to see some archery. I'm so pumped for that. I can't believe how pumped I am for this show. And it is one of those things I think everyone and their mother is skipping over Thanksgiving. We're going to Christmas. We're going to Spider-Man. But I'm genuinely excited for this. The fact that we get this, then during the middle of this, we're going to get No Way Home. And then the second this ends, we're going to get Book of Boba Fett is incredible. I cannot wait to watch the show. And again, I've said it a couple times now, I'm so pumped we're getting the first 2 episodes on that Wednesday. Definitely going to be appointment viewing right before the Thanksgiving break. If any of my family or friends are listening, you better watch it before I see you this weekend, because I will 100% be talking about it. So please, please, please be ready for that.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I've been excited for this for a while. Kate Bishop's a great comic book character, and it's just bringing in a lot of concepts, and I love the idea. Last year for Christmas, me and my family spent Christmas, that whole the couple days before Christmas and Christmas Day in New York City. So to me, Christmas in New York, one of the best things you can do, and we're now getting it on a Marvel show with some great characters, and I'm expecting a lot of definitely growth in your friendly neighborhood insert superhero name here.
Yes, for sure.
So Cam, you get the honors. Where can they find you on Twitter? And where can they find everything about the podcast?
You can find me on Twitter at CamRamos95. You can find the podcast on Twitter at StreamTheMouse, on Facebook and Instagram at StreamingWithTheMouse. Find us on our website, cprob.com/StreamTheMouse. Find us on YouTube, Streaming with the Mouse. Be sure to like, rate, review, subscribe, all the above on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and I'm missing one.
Yeah, you're doing
I forget what the
well.
other one is.
Yeah. And you can
Google
find
Podcast. There we go.
There we go.
Cliff, where can they find you?
You can find me at CPRobinson81. And for Cam Ramos, we will see you this weekend to recap the first 2 episodes of Hawkeye. Cannot wait. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone, and have a magical day.
Bye, everyone. Sorry.